What's up, everybody? I made a mistake. My mic was muted in the last two, not last. Well, I didn't even post the last video, but in my volume 3 of the decline and fall of the Roman Empire, the first one, which now is unavailable to view. And since I don't have, since I don't have 30 minutes right now to go back into that in-depth type of video, I'm just gonna talk about the last part of that I mentioned in that video, which is basically all the points that led to the downfall of the Roman Empire. So the first one was just the badness of the time and the nature. So with the time wise, it takes time to build things, which is pretty much what the Romans were doing the entire time, and they just didn't have enough time. And also, with the time, there was not enough time for them to set a proper goal. Simply because, like I said in the last video, every every 2 years, pretty much, statistically speaking, there was a new emperor during a 20-year time period. So there just wasn't exactly enough time for them to set a straight goal because every emperor wanted to do their own thing. And of course, with the nature, yes, this is what I talk about in the other video, but there was bad fires in Constantinople. For for instance, you know, three of their libraries got burned down. Three, and Constantinople is a pretty big city, and just for the fires to be that vast and grand, that's that's just bad luck. That's just bad luck on their part. Well, the fires they were some of them were from just fires, and other ones were actually from the enemies shooting fire arrows, which is, I didn't think that. Like, I've seen a video in the past about fire arrows, and they weren't that effective. So I don't know how that necessarily happened, but who knows? So the second reason of the Roman downfall was the attacks of the barbarians, and also just Christianity in general. Because the barbarians, of course, I don't think empires can necessarily fall straight on themselves, but they can fall with help. For example, if you have someone pushing you down, you're more likely to fall down than if you're just walking. It's just probability wise. So if you have someone pretty much killing all of your people, and the economy is just suffering. The economy suffers because the people are dying, and the people are dying because of the barbarians and the enemies. So that's another reason that led to the downfall of Rome. And the Christians, of course, they just pretty much changed everything in the sense that in order for you to be a soldier, like I mentioned this before, you had to be like chastised, you had to worship God, you had to do this. And they also burned all of, yeah, these people, the Christians, they also burned books. So that was, and they just changed it. They had grand, a lot of taxes. So it was just, a bad scene. And also the use and abuse of materials. This is what I was talking about with the buildings. There was a lot of buildings being created at the time. A lot. I mean, a lot. And that takes money. And the money was also badly spent and used. It was used for vanitatious things. Well, I'm pretty sure that's normal for emperors, but when the empire's not doing good, I don't think you should spend. I don't think you should spend vast amounts of money on treasures. And also, they were spending money on treaties with people, and while it did save them for the moment, it, like, you're out of money at the house. I don't know. Would you rather have not have a house at all, but have maybe some money? You could take some money out of the house, or have a house but no money. I think you could always find a new home, especially if you have friends. Like, of course, there was other cities during the time, so I don't think that. I don't know. It's the decision where there's no right answer to it. There may be a better answer depending on how the situation will play out. But the use and abuse of materials. And the fourth thing that led to the downfall was just the internal fights and the civil wars. Because this is probably the biggest reason, honestly. And the author said it too. And this is what I agreed with. Simply because it's like a family that fights. Like another family isn't going to lead to the downfall of this family simply because they just well, they can maybe if they kill him. Well, but you see, yeah, that's the only thing. But well, I don't think you understood my example, but simply the just with no one being on the same page, because like what I read in War and Peace and War, everyone has to be together for them to be. They called it Ashabia. Well, I can't say they. An African person. He called it Ashabia, and and that basically correlates to cooperation and trust between the group. So it's pretty necessary, pretty much. It's necessary for there to be cooperation and trust for empires to rise, and in order for them to avoid falling, cooperation and trust is also needed, and that's something that the Romans lacked. So this was my brief, very brief video on Volume 3 compared to the real one I made, and also I'll just finish the book. But during that video, I found out my mic was also muted. So, but again, I have to leave. So, yeah, it looks like just one video today, unfortunately. But of course, I'll come back tomorrow and do more videos then. This was the trilogy of the decline and fall of the Roman Empire.